There are two kinds of people on this planet. Those who think that MBDA is doing some really interesting, some really astonishing forward thinking and development, and is all round a generally superb firm. And then there are liars. Excuse me, I'm a little bit hoarse, but today I'll be talking about MBDA's future concept for a world post-2035, named Hoplite. Now, Hoplite is a missile, formerly known as CVS-302 Hoplite, with multiple variations, SL and I believe CO, designed to provide an organic precision strike capability to both naval and ground forces. Now, the system itself is innovative, to say the least. It will, given that it is so innovative, rely upon superior, non-existent currently, interface systems utilised by command and control centres in the future, in order to make these strikes more quick and more efficient. So it's got to be more user compatible, but that's a benefit anyway. So as I said, Hoplite can be launched from both naval or ground launch stations, effectively. It comes in these three variants. The first I'm going to talk about is L. Hoplite L is designed for isolated, complex scenarios. It will be able to travel around 140 kilometers, so it is, by definition, a standoff cruise missile. It will weigh around 135 kilograms, utilising an air turbo rocket propulsion system. And an air turbo rocket propulsion system is basically where you have a jet engine, where the turbine itself it turns an inlet compressor, and that's powered by a rocket engine overall. So it's, I guess, closer to a ramjet. Additionally, it will, of course, have a multi-mode seeker, which will be able to conduct passive target identification. That is to say, it can find the target while moving, and when it reaches the target, it can identify targets which pose no threat, or more threat. And that's pretty important. Anyway, additionally, importantly, it will be a kinetic munition. It will employ a kinetic munition for the terminal phase. This will be a boosted kinetic energy penetrator, so it's incredibly hard, and it goes incredibly fast, and that's the only quality we know about it so far. It will be able to go incredibly fast in the terminal stage in order to deal with more hardy targets. And I can't quite tell, but from the model, it looks like there will be pre-designated courses for the missile prior to the aerodynamic exterior falling off, revealing a more open seeker suite. So perhaps the initial stage relies more on INS. Now, Hoplite L is designed, as I said, for these more isolated operations, launched from generally a small count, likely smaller unit naval vessel strike group, in the aim of increased stealth and a stable position from which to fire support. Now, Hoplite can also provide more interactive fire support to ground troops, able to take out threats within an area of operation. Now, notably, the kinetic energy penetrator means that there is, of course, less likely to be a danger to the troops if they're in the immediate area, because it's obviously less frangible. It's designed to penetrate and then cause damage, as opposed to create some sort of burst. Now, soldiers will be able to relay information to command and control posts. And this is pretty important, actually. It will be able to utilise any ISR assets in the area once the soldiers have notified of the target location. And they can provide targeting capability, or just the potentiality for soldiers to designate themselves, other vehicles in the area, or even missiles entering the area, which may have a sensor view of the target. In any case, it's designed to be incredibly interactive. It's designed to be able to utilise all ISR on the battlefield and maximise the ability of all assets to support the missile's targeting capability. Now, this fire support will be particularly effective, not just because of its power, of its speed, given that it is a boosted kinetic energy penetrator and a cruise missile, and its range, I guess. But the fire support will be particularly effective because, I guess you could say, it's local asset best chosen. So the command and control systems, in order to choose assets that can best operate, will be able to avoid congested and conflicted areas, generally airspace, which is something that they think is going to be a huge issue in the future as airspace is further denied. Now, operators can then launch the Hoplite from a mobile ground launcher, again, this isn't our Hoplite L, this is Hoplite S, which is different. It has a range of about 160 kilometers, so slightly further, and a weight of around 120 kilograms. It utilizes the same air turbo rocket engine and kinetic energy penetrator, but uses LiDAR seekers instead of traditional multimode seekers instead, because it's obviously more direct target designation, and that's more effective in this scenario, particularly for a crowded battlefield, and one which may have a lot of dirt, smoke, dust around. Yet Hoplite's most incredible capability, or what will be its most incredible capability, in my view, is its blind counter-response variant, the CO variant, able to be stored in really the most efficient static launch platforms, which are literally just ISO containers. For those who don't know, that's, I guess, the military equivalent of the containers you see on cargo ships. Now, this makes it incredibly logistically efficient. It makes it very logistically easy. And of course, because it is standoff, it can just be put in a base. It can be launched to wherever it needs to go, and that gives the munition, the ISO system, more protection. Now, this CO variant, the counter operations variant, the ISO variant, once it reaches the target effectively, it will operate in a slightly different manner. It will, like the S and L variant, have the aerodynamic front peel off to reveal the seeker, but instead of going straight for the strike, it dwells as much as it possibly can. And this is important because it provides proper targeting information to additional units of Hoplite S or Hoplite L. It will even be able to really relay battle damage assessments, potentially, and overall provide ISR to the fighting force. Now, once it's fully taken in a view of the battlefield, it can strike its target. And then, if there are other targets that need to be struck, other units will follow and strike the target as needed with the information, the ISR, gained from Hoplite CO's dwelling period. Now, when this comes to fruition, when Hoplite does come to fruition, it really will, I believe, be quite incredible. It will be utilizing a brilliant munition in order to promote the next generation of systems integration, cooperation, and coordination, in order to maximize the battle space advantage for the warfighter. And I think it's quite impressive that you can have these three variants, particularly the CO variant, which can operate in an incredibly logistically easy manner, but beyond this, it's an incredible missile itself, with huge range, huge power, given that it's kinetic energy penetrator, and of course, huge speed in that, and enormous ISR value. So, I guess for your consideration, the Hoplite.